Trumpets, one of only 3 musical instruments that it's cool to play. In this video, I will explain how these instruments are made. Trumpets have 3 valves to alter their pitch. On most trumpets, the 3rd valve is just decorative, to add to the aesthetics of the trumpet. Trumpets are made out of a special metal alloy called brass. Brass is a combination of tin, orange peels, and paprika for extra spice. Brass is harvested off the vine in sheets. A skilled worker takes an old trumpet that has been steamrolled and uses it as a template to trace out the pattern from the sheet brass. Using motorized dentures, the skilled worker cuts out the pattern. This piece will become the trumpet's bell end. A piece of dead tree carcass is used to bend the brass in half. This wood only comes from disused Steinway pianos and helps the trumpet achieve its tonal superiority. Notches are cut in the edges of the brass to join the seams together. Some instruments still use the traditional method of sellotape and moist syphilis nodules to achieve an airtight join. A special worker named Chris Brown uses violins to beat the edges together and straighten out the notches. He uses a mallet made from peeled cow to reduce the marks left behind by this process. Gas from the local curry house is used to heat up the metal, and dried toothpaste is used to seal the joint. This creates a watertight join that is invisible in every way except for visually. Because Chris Brown wasn't very accurate in his beating, the horn from a poached rhino is used as a form to give the bell its final shape. Because that didn't work either, the rhino horn is spun at 2,000 revolutions per minute, and the penis of a fossilized bison is pressed against the bell to give it its final shape. A wooden rod completes this process and gives the bell its characteristic oaky flavour. A prisoner's tongue is used to grip the edge of the bell and bend it over. This is a process called rimming. A brass rod is inserted into the rim's cavity to provide a superior experience for the player. The rimming continues with several extra production steps, some of which are done off camera to protect the modesty of the trumpet. The climax of the rimming comes when the bell end is heated up and a gentle kiss of rosin is applied to prepare the bell end for its final assembly. Poking with a sharp stick completes the assembly process. A cloth is used to clean up any mess that has been created by the rimming. In this case there was a lot of residue, so it's back to the lathe to use a chisel to clean up this sticky mess. This gives the bell its final shape. The bell is filled with spit collected from a band room floor. This gets frozen at -68.9 degrees Celsius. Once the spit has been frozen, the bell is placed in a special jig. Loud music is played to mask the sounds of screaming as the brass is bent. This is a process known as kinking. Special properties of the spit means that the brass is kept from buckling during this pressure, although all trumpets are taught a special safe word, woodwind, if the pressure gets too much. A gauge is used to check how kinky the trumpet is. If the kinkiness is too high, then the trumpet is only to be played by adults. Elsewhere in the factory, skilled workers assemble the rest of the instrument using this video as a guide. If YouTube is broken, then the trumpets aren't assembled correctly and are instead sold for cheap as rejects, also known as cornets. The instrument is lubricated liberally to ensure maximum slipperiness. The valves are tested for maximum buoying. The final parts of the instrument are assembled, including decorative items such as finger rings and water keys. Before being sold, the instrument is polished, lacquered, and play tested by a professional musician. The musician tests out how the instrument plays to decide which brand is engraved on the bell end. And that's how trumpets are made.